They said don't approach her, but the alien vampire woman chose to sit with me. The space station of Solara 9 was unlike any place humans had ever seen. It stretched like a silver web across the void, its towers reaching toward the stars, connecting dozens of docking bays, observation decks, and alien markets. Ships of all shapes and colors hovered in the air outside the transparent dome, some shaped like glowing crystals, others like sleek metallic beasts. The air inside the station was filled with chatter in hundreds of languages, the hum of engines, and the constant movement of creatures humans could barely comprehend. Among all the visitors, humans still felt small. They were new here, fresh arrivals from Earth, learning the rhythms of alien life. Some humans moved in groups for safety, while others wandered cautiously, trying to study and understand. And then there were the rumors. They said there was an alien woman no one should approach. She had pale, almost glowing skin, eyes that pierced the darkness, and a presence that made even the bravest beings step back. Rumors twisted her into legends. Some said she could drain the energy from anyone who made her angry. Others whispered that she had lived for centuries and remembered wars that no one else dared to talk about. Her real name was unknown. She was only referred to as the woman, or, among the frightened, the vampire. Humans were told, stay away. But one human, a young man named Aaron, had never been good at following orders he didn't understand. He had arrived at Solara 9 with a sense of curiosity that sometimes bordered on recklessness. Unlike the other humans who whispered and glanced nervously at the woman, Aaron wanted to see her for himself. Not because he wanted to challenge her, but because he wanted to understand. It was in the central observation deck that he first noticed her. The room overlooked the docking bays, where ships glided silently through artificial gravity fields. The woman sat alone on a bench, a thin shadow against the glow of the starry expanse beyond the glass. She wore a cloak that shimmered like liquid silver, and her hair fell like black silk over her shoulders. She didn't speak, didn't move except to watch the crowd. Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine, not from fear, but from the thrill of witnessing something extraordinary. Around him, others hurried past, glancing at her nervously, but Aaron slowed his steps. He wanted to see more. Then, as if sensing him, she moved. Her motion was fluid, deliberate, and terrifyingly graceful. She walked toward him, and for a moment he could hear nothing but the faint hiss of air circulation. The crowd seemed to part around her as if she demanded space. Aaron froze. This was the moment everyone had warned him against. The whispers in the station had told him to never approach her, but now she was approaching him. And then she stopped. She sat down on the bench next to him, leaving the space between them just enough for politeness, yet close enough to feel her presence. Aaron's heart raced. He was aware of every detail, the faint scent of something like metal and flowers, the intensity of her gaze, the way her fingers rested lightly on her knees. "You're human," she said. Her voice was calm, almost melodic, with a strange accent he couldn't place. "Not many humans come here alone." Yes," Aaron replied, struggling to sound confident. "I'm Aaron, I just wanted to see the station, I didn't mean to disturb you." She tilted her head slightly, observing him. "You are not afraid," Aaron blinked. I guess I'm curious." "I've heard stories, yes, but I wanted to see for myself." Her lips curved, just barely. "Most are afraid because they don't understand. You are different." The words were simple, but the meaning struck him. Different. She had chosen him not because he was brave or clever, but because he didn't react the way everyone else did. Most would have kept their distance or run. Aaron had stayed. The woman leaned back slightly, resting against the bench. "Tell me, what is your world like?" Aaron took a deep breath. For the first time, he realized this could be a moment of history. She was talking to a human, alone. "Earth, it's a small planet," he said carefully. "We have oceans, forests, cities, and people. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we build. We make mistakes, but we try to learn." She listened, tilting her head with interest. "You are honest," she said. "I like that." Why talk to me?" Aaron asked, unable to hide his curiosity. "Everyone says to stay away from you." She laughed softly, a sound like wind over glass. "Stories are made to keep others away. I do not need to harm humans. Not all fear is justified. You are intriguing. That is enough." Aaron felt a mix of relief and awe. He had expected danger, maybe even confrontation, but instead he was talking to one of the most feared beings in the galaxy. And yet she was calm, curious, and, dare he think it, kind. Around them, the crowd murmured. Some whispered warnings, Others stopped to stare, astonished that the infamous woman had chosen to sit with a human. Aaron could feel the tension in the room, the way the eyes of many alien species followed him. But he focused on her, answering her questions honestly, describing human life, culture, and dreams. Hours passed. Well, perhaps hours. Time in Solera 9 was strange, warped by the artificial day-night cycles and the constant hum of machinery. They spoke of simple things first: food, music, games, the way humans learned to survive on a small, fragile planet. Then slowly they spoke of larger things, the nature of fear, trust, and courage. Aaron realized that the woman's fascination was not with power or danger, but with humanity's unpredictability. Where other species relied on calculated plans, humans often acted with creativity and heart, making unexpected choices. That was what drew her to him, to this one human who did not flinch from her presence. At one point, she asked him about his fears. Aaron admitted the truth. "I am afraid of making mistakes, of not being ready when something important happens, of letting people down." The woman's gaze softened. "Then you are wise. Fear is a guide, not a weapon. Humans often forget this. You remember." The weight of her words struck him. No other human had ever spoken like this, especially not someone so feared. He realized that in her eyes, humanity had potential that even the galaxy's most powerful beings could not ignore. Eventually, the ambient light shifted. The observation deck began to dim as the station simulated night. Most of the crowd had dispersed, but they remained on the bench, speaking quietly, learning, and observing each other. Aaron understood something profound. This encounter was not an accident. It was a choice. She had chosen him to see, to understand, to represent humanity, not as weak or small, but as capable, curious, and unafraid. Finally, she rose. "I must leave," she said, voice quiet but certain. "Remember what you have shown me. Not all beings see the value of life. You do." "That is rare," Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "I won't forget. Thank you for trusting me." Her eyes lingered on him for a moment longer, then she turned and moved into the shadows, her cloak flowing behind her like liquid night. The crowd had thinned, the whispers gone, and Aaron was left alone on the bench, stunned but exhilarated. In that moment, he realized something extraordinary. Humans were underestimated, yes, but maybe that was their greatest advantage. The galaxy expected them to be small, weak, predictable. Instead, they were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of forming bonds that others feared or dismissed. And he had just made a connection that could change everything. As the stars glittered beyond the station windows, Aaron felt a spark of hope and a challenge. He had been chosen not because he was strong, but because he was human. And now he would need to prove that humanity was more than the galaxy ever imagined. The woman's eyes, her calm, piercing gaze, stayed with him long after she disappeared into the crowd. And he knew without a doubt that this encounter was only the beginning. The day after the encounter on Solera 9, Aaron could not stop thinking about the woman. She had chosen to sit with him, to speak with him when no one else dared. Even now, he could feel the weight of her gaze in his memory, sharp but curious, as if she were trying to see into the very essence of humanity. He walked through the station's bustling corridors, watching the humans and aliens interact. Humans were still new, cautious, often nervous in the presence of the older and wiser species. They whispered among themselves about the woman, about how dangerous she was and how lucky or foolish he had been to sit with her. "Don't get involved with her," a fellow human said as they passed him. "You could get hurt, or worse, you could start a galactic incident." Aaron smiled faintly. "I think she just wants to understand," he replied. His words earned him a puzzled look. "Understand? She's the woman, she's centuries old. Why would she care about us?" Aaron didn't answer. He wasn't entirely sure himself, but he knew that there was something about humans that intrigued her, something she had not seen in other species, something that gave humans an edge the galaxy had not yet noticed. As he wandered, he returned to the observation deck. The place where they had met was quiet now, the light soft, with the stars outside shining like scattered diamonds. And there she was. The woman was sitting in the same place as if she had expected him to return. Her eyes, still calm but intense, studied him carefully. "You came back," she said simply. "I wanted to understand," Aaron replied, "and I wanted to learn from you if that's okay." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well, but you must understand something first. Curiosity is not enough. You must show your mind, your ability to reason, your willingness to adapt. Many come here curious, but few can truly face what they do not know. Aaron swallowed. He had not expected a test, but somehow it did not frighten him. Instead, it excited him. "I'll do my best," he said. She gestured for him to sit beside her. "Then let us begin." For the next several hours, she asked questions, strange, complicated questions about logic, ethics, and problem-solving. Some were straightforward. If your people must choose between saving one life or many, what do you do? Others were far stranger. If a creature you cannot see is watching you and it decides what you deserve, how do you react? Aaron answered carefully, thinking through each scenario. He did not rush. He did not pretend to know things he did not. Where he lacked knowledge, he relied on reasoning, imagination, and honesty, and with each answer, he noticed a subtle shift in her expression. The woman's eyes, so often cold and distant with others, now seemed to reflect a hint of surprise and perhaps even respect. "You are different," she said at one point. "Other humans would panic, lie, or argue. You think." Aaron shrugged. "I guess we have to. We survive by thinking, adapting, and sometimes by trying things no one else would consider." "Adaptability," she murmured, almost to herself. "Yes, that is why you interest me." It was then that she decided to test him further. She waved her hand, and a small device appeared in her palm. It glowed softly, casting a blue light over the bench. "This is a simulation," she explained. "It will place you in a scenario with unpredictable consequences. You must make choices quickly and carefully. Your survival and the survival of others depends on it." Aaron studied the device. "A test? Yes, a challenge. You may leave if you wish, but leaving now means you will never understand why I chose you." Aaron felt a rush of excitement. This was more than curiosity. This was a chance to prove in a small way the strength and ingenuity of humanity. He nodded. "I'm ready." The device activated, projecting a holographic environment around them. They were no longer on the observation deck. Instead, Aaron found himself in a dense alien forest. The trees were tall, with leaves that glowed faintly, and the air shimmered with unseen energy. Strange sounds echoed around him, creatures moving, wings flapping, and something else, something he could not identify. "You have 3 minutes to find a safe path through the forest," the woman said, "and be mindful not all dangers are visible." Aaron's mind raced. He noticed patterns in the foliage, listened for the subtle sounds of movement, and watched the shadows. He quickly realized that the forest reacted to fear and hesitation. When he hesitated, branches seemed to reach for him, or faint lights flickered threateningly. But when he moved confidently and logically, the path opened before him, guiding him safely through the terrain. The woman watched silently, her gaze never leaving him. "You think and you do not panic," she said. "Few would succeed, most would fail in less than a minute." Aaron reached the end of the simulation, where a small clearing awaited him. He exhaled sharply, feeling a mix of relief and exhilaration. "Done," he said. She nodded slowly. "Indeed, you are patient, observant, and able to act under pressure. These are rare qualities among your species. You are not merely curious, you are capable." The simulation faded, and they were back on the observation deck. Aaron felt a strange sense of pride. He had passed a test he didn't know he would face, and he had done it with nothing but his mind and his instincts. The woman leaned back. "You surprise me, human. You are not what I expected. Many species are predictable. They act with instinct or with fear. You adapt, you learn, you grow." Aaron smiled, though he was tired from the test. "I think that's what humans do best. We survive even when others think we can't. We find a way." "Indeed," she said. Her eyes reflected the faint light of the station's stars. "Perhaps this is why I chose you. You carry the potential of your species, even if you do not fully see it yourself." They spoke for hours more, discussing the galaxy, other species, and the nature of life itself. The woman shared insights, vague but revealing, about civilizations that humans had not yet encountered, about conflicts avoided or resolved, and about knowledge that was kept secret from younger species. Aaron listened carefully, asking questions, learning as much as he could. At one point, she paused and looked directly at him. "There is danger in the galaxy that most humans cannot imagine. Your species has yet to face it, but you may be ready. You have the mind, the courage, and the heart to survive where others would fail." Aaron felt a chill. He had always imagined humans as small and fragile in the vastness of space, but hearing her words made him feel capable. Not invincible, but powerful in a different way. Humans could think, adapt, and endure. They could form bonds, find solutions, and make decisions that no other species could anticipate. You have a chance to prove yourself further, she said quietly. But this will not be easy. The galaxy does not reward hesitation or fear, only action, intelligence, and courage. Aaron nodded. I understand, and I want to try, I want to learn. The woman's eyes softened almost imperceptibly. Then you may yet be more valuable than you realize. Few beings earn my attention and fewer still earn my trust. You may be both. The station around them grew quiet as night fell over Solara 9. Most of the travelers had gone to sleep or retreated to their quarters. But Aaron and the woman remained, sitting side by side on the bench, speaking quietly, learning from each other. Aaron realized something important. This was more than a meeting. This was the beginning of a partnership, one that could show the galaxy the hidden strengths of humanity, one that could turn fear into respect and curiosity into understanding. For the first time, he felt that humanity's place in the stars was not small or weak. It was capable, adaptable, and ready to face whatever the galaxy had to offer. And he had been chosen not for his strength or his power, but for his mind, his heart, and his willingness to see the unknown without fear. The woman finally rose to leave. Rest now, she said. Tomorrow the challenges will increase. You must be ready. And remember, not all who walk beside you will understand, but that does not diminish your value. Aaron watched her disappear into the shadows of the station, feeling both excitement and anticipation. The test was over, for now, but he knew that his journey and humanity's journey had only just begun. He left the observation deck with a new sense of purpose. Humans might be underestimated, but that would not stop them. With courage, intelligence, and adaptability, they could face dangers no one else could. And if the woman had chosen to see that potential in him, perhaps others in the galaxy would too. For Aaron, the galaxy had just opened a door. And he was ready to walk through it. The days that followed the test on Solara 9 were unlike any Aaron had ever experienced. Everywhere he went, he could feel the eyes of others on him, the curious glances of aliens, the quiet whispers of humans, and sometimes the lingering presence of the woman. She had not approached him again in public, but he knew she was observing. And he knew the galaxy was watching, too. He spent his time exploring the station, learning its paths, markets, and hidden corners. He observed the behavior of countless species, noting how they communicated, traded, and reacted to one another. But even as he tried to understand the station, a sense of tension grew. Something was stirring beyond the surface, a quiet, calculated unease that made Aaron's instincts sharp and his mind alert. It was in the market district that the first warning reached him. He was browsing a stall filled with alien devices, small, glowing machines that hummed softly when a nervous human approached. Aaron, the man whispered, glancing over his shoulder. They're talking about you, about your connection to the woman. Some species, they don't like it. They say you're a threat. Aaron raised an eyebrow. A threat? I'm just a human. The man shook his head. To them, being noticed by her is dangerous. They think she's powerful enough to change balance in the station, and now you're part of it. You need to be careful. Aaron nodded slowly, the weight of the words settling over him. He had known that curiosity could bring danger, but he had never imagined this level. The woman had chosen him, and that choice had consequences he had only begun to understand. That night he returned to the observation deck, hoping to find her. The stars outside shimmered as usual, but the calm he had felt in her presence was tinged with a new edge of urgency. She appeared silently, her cloak flowing like a shadow across the floor. You felt it, she said before he could speak. The whispers, the caution, the eyes upon you. Yes, Aaron admitted. I know some species are uneasy about us, about me. She regarded him with sharp, calculating eyes. Uneasy is not enough, fear is growing. There are forces in this station that prefer control over understanding. They would see humans, your kind, stay small, predictable, and unimportant, but I see potential. Aaron leaned forward. Potential for what? Her gaze pierced him. Potential for change. Potential to survive challenges no one else could. But to reach it, you must understand the galaxy is not always fair. Not all beings act openly. Some hide, some plot, some strike without warning. The words sent a shiver down his spine, but he did not turn away. Then I need to learn, I need to understand what I can do. The woman nodded. Good, that is why I chose you, but knowledge comes with risk. There are things you must see, things most humans could not survive knowing. She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small, metallic cube. It pulsed with a soft, violet light. This is a communication device. It will show you messages, secrets, and information that others would not share openly. But be warned, it will also show danger. You must decide what is important and what can be ignored. Not all truths are safe. Aaron took the cube carefully. I understand. I'll be careful. Good, she said. Then prepare yourself. There is more to the galaxy than your species imagines. And some truths are better understood than feared. The cube activated in his hand, projecting a holographic display filled with alien symbols, star maps, and images of civilizations he had never seen. Some were thriving, some were crumbling, and some were locked in conflicts that had lasted centuries. Aaron felt a mixture of awe and apprehension. One image caught his attention, a planet surrounded by swirling energy fields, inhabited by a species whose features reminded him of shadows given form. They moved with precision and coordination, their eyes glinting with intelligence and intent. Beside them, text appeared in a language he could understand. Caution, hidden influence. Observation recommended. He frowned. Who are they? The woman's voice echoed in his mind, calm but serious. They are one of the hidden powers of the sector. Few know them, fewer interact with them. They do not reveal their intentions openly, and they do not forgive mistakes. Many species have tried to engage with them and failed. Aaron's pulse quickened. He was beginning to see why she had chosen him. Humans had an advantage that others did not: adaptability, creativity, and the ability to act where others froze. He had passed her first test because he did not panic. Perhaps this discovery of hidden dangers was another test, one that would measure his courage and judgment. "Why show me this?" he asked. "Because you must learn to see," she replied. "To anticipate, to act wisely. Humans are often underestimated, dismissed, or ignored. But underestimated beings can achieve the impossible." Aaron nodded slowly. He remembered her words during the simulation. Adaptability, thinking under pressure, acting when others hesitate. "Yes," she said. "These qualities are rare, but the galaxy will test them. Soon your understanding will be needed, not just for yourself, but for others who cannot see what is coming." The cube projected another image, a map of Scifi 9 itself, highlighting certain locations with a flickering red glow. The woman's voice was quieter now. "These areas, there are beings observing. They are testing reactions. They do not like you being noticed by me. You must be cautious. But you must also remain true to your instincts. Sometimes courage is the only choice that makes sense." Aaron studied the map carefully. "So I need to be careful but not afraid." "Correct," she said. "Fear is a tool, but do not let it rule you. Your species has something others do not. The ability to act even when afraid, the ability to think creatively, to form bonds that others underestimate. That is why I chose you." He felt a sense of determination rising within him. He had spent his life feeling small and limited, just another human among countless stars. But now he realized something extraordinary. Humanity had qualities the galaxy could not ignore. And he had been chosen to represent them. Over the next few days, Aaron began to observe more carefully. He used the cube to track movements, to see patterns, to learn which species were watching and which could be allies. He noticed subtle signs, creatures that moved in patterns too precise to be accidental, ships that lingered near the station without reason, and communications that were hidden in plain sight. The woman returned intermittently, offering advice, guidance, and subtle challenges. Each time she tested his reasoning, his ability to notice details, and his creativity. She asked questions that seemed simple but had hidden complexity. "If a species hides its intentions, how can you know what is true?" "By observing carefully," Aaron replied. "By looking for patterns, listening for inconsistencies, and trusting the things I can understand." "Good," she said. "And if your instincts tell you one thing but the evidence another?" "Then I must find a balance," he said. "I cannot rely on instinct alone, but I cannot ignore it. Both must guide my decisions." She smiled faintly. "Exactly. Few can do that. Most are blinded by fear, pride, or certainty. Humans sometimes succeed because they are willing to see both sides." It was during one of these sessions that Aaron discovered a deeper secret. Hidden among the data projected by the cube, he found evidence of a covert operation. A group of alien agents, moving silently through Scifi 9, gathering intelligence on the station's inhabitants. They were precise, efficient, and clearly targeting humans, specifically him. He felt a chill. The danger was real and it was close, not far away in the stars, not abstract, here now. and yet the woman's guidance had prepared him to notice it. He could track their patterns, anticipate their movements, and plan a way to avoid or confront them if necessary. When he told her, she nodded. "You see clearly, many would not. Many would walk into their plans blindly. That is why I chose you. Not because you are fearless, but because you are alert, thoughtful, and willing to act when others hesitate." Aaron felt a sense of pride, tempered by responsibility. He was not just representing himself. He was representing humanity, showing that humans could think, adapt, and survive in a galaxy that underestimated them at every turn. And he realized something else. The woman had not just chosen him for curiosity. She had chosen him because she believed in humanity's potential, because she knew that when tested, humans could rise above fear, above expectation, and above limitation. The station outside continued its endless hum, oblivious to the small yet crucial struggles unfolding within. And Aaron knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and danger lurked in ways he had not yet imagined. But he also knew that humanity had something unique, something worth noticing, something worth protecting. And for the first time, he felt ready. He had a dangerous secret to protect, knowledge to understand, and an ally who believed in him, and in humanity more than anyone else had yet dared. The night fell over Solara 9, but for Aaron, sleep was impossible. He was alert, observing, thinking, and planning. The galaxy had begun its tests, and he was ready to meet them, not as a single human, but as a representative of all humanity. And the woman, she would be watching, waiting, and guiding him still. The following week on Solara 9 brought tension that Aaron could not ignore. The station, usually a hub of calm trade and observation, now felt alive with hidden eyes and whispered concerns. Aaron had learned to sense subtle patterns in movement, to recognize beings who were watching more closely than others. And he had learned to trust his instincts, lessons that were preparing him for something greater. It began one afternoon in the docking bay. Aaron had been observing the flow of ships, noting anomalies in the schedules and behaviors of various species. The woman appeared silently beside him, her presence as calm and commanding as ever. "They are close," she said, her eyes scanning the crowd. "The faction I warned you about, they are moving against us. Their intent is to separate us, to remove the influence I have placed by trusting you." Aaron's stomach tightened. He had known this day might come, but knowing and seeing were different experiences. "How?" he asked quietly. "How do they intend to do it?" "They are subtle," she explained. "They do not strike openly. They manipulate situations, create distractions, and rely on fear. They cannot challenge us directly, at least not yet, but they can create circumstances to force your isolation." Aaron nodded. He knew that fear would not help, hesitation would not help. Only action, creativity, and observation could keep them ahead. And for the first time, he realized the full scope of what the woman had been preparing him for: survival, not just in theory but in practice, against an intelligent, patient opponent. "Then we need a plan," he said. "Yes," she replied. "But the plan must use what humans do best: ingenuity, creativity, courage. Predictability is weakness, unpredictability is strength." They moved through the docking bay, observing the faction's agents. Aaron noticed subtle patterns in their movement, how they lingered near certain stations, avoided others, and communicated in a way that was almost invisible. Using these clues, he began to form a strategy. "We can anticipate them," he said. "We can see where they are planning to act next, and we can create distractions of our own without revealing our intentions." The woman nodded slowly. "Yes, you think as humans do, quick, adaptive, resourceful. This is why you survive where others fail." Aaron felt a surge of determination. He had always considered humans fragile, small, limited. But now he saw the truth. Humans were capable of improvisation, of reasoning in chaos, and of using courage as a tool. That was why the woman had chosen him, and why the galaxy could underestimate humanity at its own peril. They set their plan into motion. First, Aaron created a subtle diversion in one of the main corridors. Using a small device he had purchased in the market, a gadget designed to mimic signals and project light patterns, he created the illusion of a disturbance. Agents from the faction rushed to investigate, leaving openings elsewhere in the station. "Good," the woman said. "They react predictably to threats. Humans, however, do not always follow expectation. That is your advantage." Next, Aaron used observation and timing to guide them through the station. He noticed the agents were trying to corner them near the research bay. but he had already memorized the layout, including hidden passages and maintenance tunnels. With the woman following, they moved with quiet precision, avoiding detection while maintaining control of their path. As they navigated the tunnels, she asked, "Why do you think humans are underestimated?" Aaron considered it. "Maybe because we are smaller, slower, or less advanced in some areas, but I think it's because we act differently. We improvise, we make choices others wouldn't consider, and we keep going even when things seem impossible." She nodded. "Exactly, and that difference is what makes you valuable, dangerous even. Not all danger comes from strength. Some comes from cleverness and courage." Their route eventually brought them to a high observation deck overlooking a quieter section of the station. From there, they could see the agents' movements without being seen. Aaron noticed a pattern. The agents were following a protocol, moving in a predictable loop to isolate them. "We can use that," he said. "If we force them to think we are in one location, then move to another, we can stay ahead. They won't adapt quickly enough." "Then do it," she said. Aaron executed the plan. He used a combination of sound diversions and light signals to suggest movement where there was none, drawing the agents into a controlled loop. Meanwhile, he and the woman moved through alternate paths, always staying one step ahead. It was a delicate game of anticipation, observation, and quick thinking. Hours passed, and the tension mounted. But with each successful maneuver, Aaron grew more confident. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not in power or speed, but in thinking, observing, and acting when others hesitated. At one point, an agent almost cornered them in a storage bay. Aaron thought quickly, scanning the room. He noticed a stack of crates near a maintenance panel. With a small push, he toppled the crates in a controlled way, creating a path to the panel. They slipped through, leaving the agent baffled and unable to follow. The woman watched silently, then finally said, "Clever. That is why I chose you, not for fearlessness but for resourcefulness. Many would panic, you act." Aaron smiled faintly, though he was tired. "Humans survive by acting, sometimes even when we are afraid." They continued their careful navigation, eventually returning to the observation deck where they had started. The agents had been drawn away, following false trails, and for the moment the immediate danger had passed. "Today you have done more than survive," the woman said. "You have proven that humans are capable of outthinking opponents, of acting with courage and strategy. That is rare, very rare." Aaron felt pride, but also the weight of responsibility. The galaxy was vast, full of threats and hidden dangers. And now he realized that the trust the woman had placed in him was not just for curiosity or companionship. It was for survival, strategy, and potentially for guiding others. As night fell over Solara 9, the station quieted. Traders returned to their quarters, travelers rested, and the glow of distant ships lit the observation decks. Aaron and the woman remained, speaking quietly. She asked him about Earth, about humans, and about his own experiences, questions that seemed simple but revealed insight into human culture, creativity, and resilience. "You see," she said at one point, "humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because they adapt. You improvise, you think, you find solutions where others see none. That is your greatest weapon." Aaron nodded. "And it seems that sometimes that weapon is enough." "Yes," she replied. "Enough to survive, enough to impress those who underestimate you, enough to change the game." They stayed together, speaking and observing the stars outside. Aaron felt a sense of connection, not just with her, but with humanity as a whole. He understood now that humans were underestimated for a reason. Their unpredictability made them dangerous in ways the galaxy had not yet realized. And that unpredictability, combined with courage and ingenuity, could tip the balance in unexpected ways. The next morning, Aaron was more alert than ever. He monitored the station, watched for patterns, and prepared for the next moves from the faction. The woman returned intermittently, giving him advice and guidance, challenging his thinking and pushing him to see the broader picture. "You have learned well," she said one day. "Not every human could have succeeded as you did. But you understand strategy, observation, and timing. You understand that action is not reckless if guided by thought and courage." Aaron smiled. "I've learned from the best." Her eyes softened slightly. "And you have learned from yourself. That is what makes humans special. Not the technology, not the numbers, but the mind and the heart. That is why you survive where others fail." The day passed, and the threat from the agents faded for now. But Aaron knew it was temporary. The galaxy was full of challenges, hidden powers, and those who underestimated humans at every turn. And he also knew that he had something rare, guidance from a being the galaxy feared and respect from a species that could teach him far more than he had ever imagined. As he watched the stars from the observation deck, he realized that humanity's edge was not strength alone. It was courage, adaptability, creativity, and intelligence. And with that edge, he and the woman could face dangers that no one else could, proving that humans were capable of far more than the galaxy expected. For Aaron, the lesson was clear. Humans might be underestimated, but that was their greatest strength. And in the moments that mattered most, courage and cleverness would always win. The woman stood beside him quietly, her presence calm but commanding. "Tomorrow will bring new challenges," she said, "but you are ready, and humans will continue to surprise the galaxy." Aaron nodded. "Then we keep going, together." And for the first time, he felt the truth of her words resonate deep within him. Humanity's edge was real, and with ingenuity, courage, and heart, they could survive and thrive where others could not. The calm of Solara 9 was deceptive. From above, the station shimmered like a jewel in the endless black of space. Inside, every shadow, every movement carried meaning. Aaron knew that danger still lingered, factions that had tried to challenge him, and the woman were still plotting, still watching. But unlike before, he now understood the stakes clearly, and he understood his own strengths. He was no longer just a human wandering in an alien station. He was a participant, an observer, a strategist. And he had the woman, the mysterious, powerful, feared being who had chosen to sit with him, to guide him and test him. That morning, Aaron met her on the observation deck, where they had first truly talked. She stood beside the railing, her cloak reflecting the faint glow of distant stars. "They are gathering," she said. "The faction that wishes to isolate us will attempt something bold today. They underestimate you, as always." Aaron nodded. "Then we'll show them the opposite." She regarded him carefully. "Do you understand what is at stake?" "Yes," he replied. "Not just for me, not just for us, but for humanity. If they succeed in undermining us, humans will be seen as weak, unworthy. But if we succeed, we can prove our value." "Exactly," she said. "And that is why I chose you. Few beings earn trust, fewer still earn partnership. You have done both." The plan began as they predicted. Agents from the faction moved quietly, attempting to create a disturbance in the lower docking bays. Aaron had anticipated their patterns. Using the lessons he had learned, observation, logic, creativity, he guided the woman through hidden passages, positioning themselves strategically to monitor and respond. The first agent approached, moving silently among crates and containers. Aaron observed its movements carefully. Instead of confronting it directly, he used a small device to project an illusion of their location, a flickering light that suggested movement where there was none. The agent paused, hesitated, and then followed the false trail. "Good," the woman whispered. "You think as humans do, clever, adaptable, that is your greatest weapon." Aaron smiled faintly. "And patience, we wait for the right moment." Hours passed in careful observation. Each move of the faction was anticipated. Each attempt to corner them was met with creative solutions. Aaron discovered something profound. Humans were not strong in the same way as others, but they were unpredictable. And unpredictability, combined with careful planning, could outmatch strength or speed. Finally, the faction revealed their true plan. A group of their agents attempted to control access to the station's central communications hub. If successful, they could cut off the woman's ability to monitor the station and potentially remove her influence over Aaron. The moment had arrived. Aaron whispered to the woman, "This is it, we act now." "Indeed," she replied, "and remember your strength is in thinking differently, not in force, but in creativity." Using a combination of tactics he had learned, Aaron created a distraction, a series of false alerts throughout the station. Lights flickered, sounds echoed in multiple corridors, and agents were drawn away from their true target. Meanwhile, he and the woman approached the communications hub from a hidden maintenance route. The hub itself was heavily secured, designed to prevent unauthorized access. But Aaron noticed a flaw, a maintenance panel slightly ajar, overlooked because the engineers assumed no one would observe it closely. He slipped through, and the woman followed silently. Inside, they worked together seamlessly. She provided guidance, observing security patterns and predicting movements, while Aaron manipulated the hub's controls. He rerouted security feeds, created false sensor readings, and restored communications in ways that the faction could not detect. It was precise, delicate work, but his human creativity and calm reasoning made it possible. Outside, the agents searched in frustration. They could not find Aaron or the woman. Each attempt to corner them failed. Each misstep increased the agents' confusion, and for the first time the faction realized they had underestimated humans. The woman looked at Aaron, her eyes reflecting faint light from the hub's monitors. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have proven humans are capable of foresight, strategy, and creativity. This is why I trust you." Aaron felt a surge of pride. He had acted not with brute force, not with intimidation, but with intelligence, patience, and courage. Humanity's edge, the unpredictable mind, the capacity to improvise, had prevailed. When the final agent gave up and retreated, Aaron exhaled. "It's done," he said. "Yes," the woman agreed. "For now, but remember, trust, vigilance, and adaptability will always be necessary. The galaxy is vast, and not all beings think as we do." Aaron nodded. He understood now that this was only one battle in a long journey. The galaxy would continue to test humanity. But he also knew that humans had something the galaxy often underestimated: creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt. After the tension faded, they moved to a quiet observation deck overlooking the stars. The woman turned to him. "You have done something remarkable. You did not just survive, you influenced events, guided outcomes, and demonstrated what your species is capable of. That is rare." Aaron looked out at the galaxy, feeling its vastness and its mystery. "I've learned from you," he said quietly, "and from humanity itself. We can do more than others think. We can survive. We can solve problems. We can matter." Her eyes softened. "Exactly, you see it in yourself now. Humans are underestimated because others cannot imagine what you are capable of. But I can, and I have chosen to recognize it." For the first time, Aaron realized the full depth of what she had done. She had not only tested him, she had prepared him. She had seen humanity's potential and chosen to invest her trust and guidance in one human, knowing that it could reveal what humans were truly capable of. As night passed, they continued to speak, sharing thoughts about the galaxy, life, and the future. The woman revealed more about her knowledge, about hidden civilizations, and about forces that operated beyond the view of most beings. Aaron absorbed every detail, understanding that information, strategy, and trust were as important as any weapon. By morning, he felt a new sense of clarity. Humanity's strength was not in technology alone, or in numbers, or in physical power. It was in the mind, the heart, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. Humans were capable of forming alliances, of thinking creatively, and of navigating challenges that others could not predict. "You have proven yourself," the woman said finally. "Not all beings would succeed in this environment. You have. And in doing so, you have not just survived, you have changed the perception of your species. Others will notice, others will learn, and humans will have allies." Aaron understood. The events of the past week had not been about fear or strength or power. They had been about potential, his potential and humanity's potential. He had been chosen not because he was fearless, but because he could act with intelligence, creativity, and courage. And that had made all the difference. The station was calm now, the faction forced to reconsider their moves, and the woman stood beside him silently. "The galaxy will continue to test you," she said, "but now you are ready. Humans are underestimated, yes, but underestimated beings can do remarkable things, and you have proven that humans can rise above expectation." Aaron nodded. "We'll keep going, we'll keep learning, adapting, and surviving. And maybe we'll show the galaxy that humans are more than they think." The woman smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. "Yes, that is the truth. Humans matter, and you will continue to remind the stars of that fact." As Aaron watched the distant lights of the station, he felt a surge of hope. Humanity had a place among the stars, not as a species to be ignored, not as weak or fragile, but as capable, resourceful, and brave. And he had proven it with courage, creativity, and trust. The woman turned, her cloak flowing like liquid night, and walked toward the shadows of the observation deck. "Rest now," she said. "Tomorrow the galaxy will continue to challenge you, but you are ready. Humans will continue to surprise the universe." Alone, Aaron looked out at the stars. He thought of Earth, of the humans he had left behind, and of the infinite possibilities ahead. He understood something vital. Humanity's strength lay not in the power they wielded, but in the mind, the heart, and the choices they made when faced with the unknown. And he knew, without doubt, that humans were capable of far more than the galaxy had ever imagined. The woman's presence, her trust, and her guidance had shown him that one human could represent the potential of an entire species. One species could change perception, influence events, and survive challenges that others deemed impossible. Aaron took a deep breath. The stars beyond Solara 9 shimmered with possibility. He had learned, he had survived, and he had proven humanity's value. The galaxy was vast, mysterious, and dangerous, but humanity had something rare, something powerful: ingenuity, courage, and the heart to face the unknown. And now, with the woman watching, guiding, and trusting him, Aaron knew the truth. Humans would not just survive in the stars, they would thrive. And perhaps, in time, the universe itself would recognize that humanity's story had only just begun.